Hi, I'm Caleb, and you're listening to the University of Chicago Public Policy Podcast.
Hey everyone, my name is Lena, and y'all are listening to KSFam. Thanks y'all so much for tuning in for the first rebranded, rejuvenated Sorta Brown podcast. We are so excited for y'all to join us, to be here with y'all, and for you all to take the time to really understand why we are here and doing the things we're doing. This is a place of mind dedicated to reflecting radically, ethnically, and socially intersectional state of mind. I just want you to know that I'm one of your hosts, and you'll have 5 other amazing hosts that are a part of this team who you'll be hearing throughout this podcast and also throughout the rest of the season. So what you're going to hear from this Dear White People-esque platform is that we want to cue you in not only what's happening right now in our world and our communities, but also unpacking the systematic issues lurking behind them, the events affecting our POC communities, while also understanding the muffled voices that are often not recognized in the media. To us, our intersectionality is deep. It's who we are, and it's what fuels us in our decisions in our life. And we're so excited for y'all to join us in this new season of KSB as we upgrade and we change and we really try to see what we can do to talk about and bring forward the voices and the people who are already doing the work and ask questions as we come together as our team, you as a listener, come together and learn about all the things that bring our world to where we are right now and where we want to be.
Let's dig into the Melanin Archives.
Today in Melanin Archives, we like to harken back to our own roots and shout out KSB 2019 hosts Ray, James, and Kurt. Where would we be if they hadn't gone through a bottle and a half of wine and decided to found KSB one night? We're sorry to see them go, and of course, wish all the best for them in their public policy, public good advancing endeavors. I'm sure you've heard their genius on last season's episodes, and will agree with me when I say there is so much in store for them and big shoes for us on the new team to fill. But speaking of the new team, why don't we formally introduce ourselves? I'm kind of just over being a voice in the night at this point. Who wants to start?
I'll go ahead, Hope. Hi, everyone. My name's Lena. I use she, her, hers pronouns. I'm the rising second year now at the University of Chicago, majoring in economics and possibly comparative human development with a minor in data science. I was born in Tampa, Florida, with a really great Egyptian huge family who was my base there. I'm a first-gen American, and I really just enjoy embracing my culture, but also seeing how it intersects with now being an American. And I always, something that I think a lot of the group also agrees with is seeing how our identity fits in this world. So for me, that's always been something I've been thinking about as I've transitioned from being in Tampa, going to a PWI high school, to now going to a PWI university, PWI being, predominantly white institution, and seeing how I find community in that. With my identity, that also includes me being a Muslim woman, and navigating that in spaces where I'm often the only person in my group representing myself in spaces, whether it be classroom or during school events when I was the only one leaving for Eid. But for me, it's something that has really shaped me and something that I'm supported with in the community that I have now, KSB and larger.
All right. That was lovely, Lena. But I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Hope, pronouns are she, hers. I'm a second-year student with a double major in history and critical race and ethnic studies with a minor in education and society. Born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri. I grew up with my lovely family, my older sister, and my 2 parents. Growing up in a biracial home was definitely an experience in itself, especially in St. Louis, and as well as being a low-income individual and first-generation college student, I would say that my experience here in St. Louis has definitely affected me as an individual. For example, I was a dancer growing up, and I danced at a very white studio and also was very wealthy as well. I had a great experience there, but sometimes it was definitely difficult being one of the few POC individuals and also being low income. Sometimes it made me view my identities in a very negative way. But growing up, throughout that, I learned to love every part of myself and all those identities, and learning how to enter these different spaces, being biracial and also with all these other identities that I claim. But I think one thing that definitely has helped me is hearing the stories from my mentors and other BIPOC individuals in these same spaces, and how they were able to dismantle these Eurocentric and oppressive ideals and standards. And these stories have truly affected who I am today, and which is why I personally believe in like the power of storytelling and sharing spaces like this right now.
All right. Nice to meet you, Hope. Hi, everyone. My name is John. My pronouns are he, him, his, and I am a public policy major, rising second year at U Chicago from the Cleveland area, which just means I run all of our social medias and all that good stuff. I identify as a Black gay man, which I'm still getting used to saying, to be honest. I'm not really used to putting those two identities together in the same sentence. I came out for the first time last year, and ever since, I've only been in situations where either one identity or the other has been applicable, so to speak. So putting those two identities together and having them intersect in that way, there's a whole new narrative that unfolds, and there's very specific experiences that are only applicable to that intersection that I'm still trying to navigate, navigating the LGBT community as a Black man and navigating the BIPOC community as a gay man are not easy feats at all. And I'm still trying to figure it out. But I'm very happy that KSB is a place where we could really dive into that intersectionality piece. And I always include this for fun because Avatar is but if I were an avatar, I would be a waterbender. I was definitely one of those kids who would splash other people in the community pool and say I was waterbending. So if you're listening to this and you know me and you remember that, please forget it. So yeah.
Yeah, John, honestly, to add, I would be an airbender because I think it's really cool. And I feel like it's essentially the same thing as me being able to move things with my mind. Also, everyone, hi, my name's Dinah B. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I am a rising third year, majoring in sociology, and I'm looking to go into entertainment, journalism, and or business. I was originally born in London, England, and I moved to the Chicagoland area when I was 7. I have 2 sisters. One is my twin, and the other is my younger sister. And I was raised by my single mother and aunt. So family and womanhood is very big where I come from. My identity as a dark-skinned Black woman with an unconventional accent in the United States has definitely shaped me with a unique perspective. Some of my hobbies include fiber arts, acting, and writing. I'm also probably one of the least physically active people you will ever meet. I went to predominantly Black and brown public schools in middle school and high school, so the shift to this predominantly white institution as a first-generation low-income student has definitely been a shock. Being the only woman in the room is definitely not the same as being the only Black person in the room, and is a reality I've had to succumb to here at the University of Chicago. I've come to realize that people don't know my unique perspective unless I share it. Like Hope, that's why I'm in love with storytelling, specifically of sharing the stories of Black and other marginalized people. Storytelling has a lot of power, and in all honesty, is the very reason as to why systemic racism has been built to construct our society. I believe that in order to rid our world of this false narrative, we must tell another one. We must share the real experiences and lives of Black people from Black people so that the made-up folk tales told about Black people from white people can no longer reign superior.
Thank you so much, Dinah. Hi, everybody. My name's Chase. I'm the audio engineer for KSB. I use he, they pronouns. And like Dinah, I'm also a third year studying sociology with a double minor in comparative race and ethnic studies and inequality, social problems, and change. I was born and raised in Tempe, Arizona, both of my parents and my sister. I went to a predominantly Latinx high school with a large low-income population as well. And this sort of impacted me in a way that made me think more about education and the importance of building a stronger and more equal education system. I identify as an Afro-Caribbean, an African-American, and as a queer person. And that has definitely made me think more deeply about my different perspective, which is grounded in justice, equality, and strength. Being Black and queer has made me question the foundations of masculinity, reminded me that our history has always been led by Black women and Black queer people, and that social movements such as what we're seeing now has always been led by Black, queer, and femme people. Existing as a Black queer person has definitely made me realize the importance of community, representation, and standing up for everybody in your community. In addition, these two parts of myself, as well as my Caribbean roots, has shaped my passion for racial justice, civil rights, and community organizing.
Thank you, Chase. Amazing as always. My name is Daisy Okoye. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I am currently an econ major, standard track, hopefully law, letters, and society double major with a human rights minor. Location-wise, I'm from downstate New York. I will not claim upstate, but I will ride for downstate, which is about 1 to 2 hours up from the city. I went to a pretty normal high school by any standards. We weren't one of those Northeast T10 feeder schools, but we did all right for ourselves. I have the experience of seeing the discrepancy in situations of both the POC community and the white community in my school at times where we were at odds in this educational space. I identify as a cis Black woman, first generation Nigerian American. Both of my parents are Igbo, so as far as I know, I'm 100% Nigerian. Igbo Kwanu and all that to everyone who knows what that means. So I'm also an INTJ and Pisces. Neither of those really mean anything to me, but if they do to you, do with this info what you will. And last but not least, I am the content creator for KSV. My story is ever changing, as all of ours are. I don't know about you all, but especially in this time, at the age that I am, being only 19, I feel like I'm in a continuous state of identity crisis. And I think that I felt this for a very long time. We're in a pandemic, a social reckoning movement, and I'm supposed to be living at least what I've been told are the best times of my life. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I appreciate the sentiment. My present identity, I'm still exploring the in-between that is being first generation born in America, not speaking my mother's tongue and feeling separate from the culture. The fact that I've never been back to the country that my ancestors thrived on for thousands of years makes me a woman excited to go back. But in terms of me being in America, coming from New York, I am an androgynous Black woman who is learning myself. I grew up as someone who was sheltered. My parents were really overprotective, and I was forced in this way to pursue outlets from my own home, but not really seeing myself in the media. I turned to reading and writing and obsessing over simple conversation that really showed me everything that other people had to offer and what the world had to offer. I love to dance. I'm looking toward a career in law, and I really just love hearing people's stories and helping them write them out. And I had the amazing opportunity to work with this group of people over the summer on KSB, and we're all really excited for you to hear what's in store. But we've kind of gone through all of our names. Do we have a name for the listeners? Maybe brownie points, I don't know, color theorists, maybe.
How about KSFam?
Sounds good.
I'm good. I'm down with it. All right. So I guess our listeners are the KSFam then. Next up, we have the KST, and this is kind of the spot in the podcast where we just connect what we're talking about to stories, maybe broader events in history, and we'll throw in some good old statistics for you guys. It's piping hot every episode, so let's get into it.
KST. It's piping hot.
But something that's really important for this podcast, as y'all heard in our introductions, is just we're not only something that we speak about diversity, but we are diversity. We have diverse experiences. Our identities are diverse. And that's something that is kind of a stark difference compared to other podcasts that you might listen to and you might hear from that are mostly produced, written by, and led by white creators. Although there's space for all types of creators, we want to make sure that podcasts are accessible, enjoyable, and relatable. And I think that that's something that our team has really been cognizant of as we've been creating all our content and our seasons. And we want to and we as a group want to extend this discussion from beyond the whitewash content that's usually racially charged or gatekeeping knowledge from like the broader media industry, and really coming down to the roots of this is our experience, and this isn't something to gatekeep or to gaslight in a lot of ways that media does. But again, this is what John said. We have piping hot facts. We have stories, but our stories are real, and not only the experience, but in the way that it affects, our lives. So as we know, back